Welcome in. I'm Natasha from the marketing team here at Akkio, and we're joined here today by Craig, co-founder and head of product at Akkio, and Elizabeth, VP, Group Director of Data Solutions at Horizon Media. Before we get started, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared afterwards. If you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A function, and we'll address them at the end of the webinar. So I'm going to pass it off to Craig and Elizabeth to get us started.
Thanks, Natasha. Hi, I'm Craig Wisniewski. I'm the co-founder and head of product at Akkio. We are an AI-powered analytics platform for media agencies. And today we're going to be talking about the Audience Studio, which is one of the key workflows of our product. Elizabeth?
Thank you, Craig. Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Torsky. I'm a VP on the Data Solutions team here at Horizon Media, the largest independently owned agency. So we are very excited to dive into this with everyone.
Awesome. So I'll start. I'll first tell you a little bit about who Akkio is. We are a company that helps agencies activate, analyze, and maximize the value of your data across the entire campaign lifecycle. We bring generative AI solutions that make it really easy and really fast to perform workflows that are common to data analysts, media teams, data scientists. Think of the sort of the data side of what a media agency does. So how Akkio works is we start with the foundation. These are our core technologies. And then we work with agencies to layer onto the core technologies a cognitive architecture. This is the specific context that an agency has around the how you go about doing your business, in addition to the data you have, whether that's first-party data or enrichment data. And then on top of that, we enable you to either tailor our pre-built workflows or create custom workflows to take care of the common types of activities your agency does. And all that rolls up to something that can be distinctly yours, your agency's AI platform, where every decision is powered by your DNA. One of the core workflows is, of course, audience building. And we've been partnered deeply with Horizon Media in bringing that to market. And Elizabeth can tell you a little bit more about that.
Great. So as Craig mentioned, Akkio and Horizon Media are partnering for what we're calling this new era of AI-powered marketing. And we couldn't be more excited to work with Akkio to really supercharge the capabilities that we have already developed within Horizon that now we're able to scale and make even more meaningful and drive even more value for our clients. Craig mentioned on the left-hand side a bit about the Akkio architecture, but just to focus on that for a moment, we're able to use the Akkio platform and partner with our Horizon cognitive architecture, our custom workflows, all of our data processing. And then on top of that, we're able to have this AI native platform where we're able to really take advantage of all of the data that we have as an agency, and our clients are able to really make the most value of that. Then on the right here, I was just going to highlight the nice quote from our founder about just the importance of this partnership and the way that we really do feel like it's going to transform both our workflows and our clients. So to zoom out a little bit before we zoom in to the platform, we wanted to take a minute to talk about what audience first planning really is. And at Horizon, we know that it starts with our audiences and really finding meaningful ways to connect with our brand's consumers. So to do that, we start on the left here with understanding the business challenge. And then from there, identify the path for growth. How are we going to help our clients grow? We then define the audiences, and this is where we're going to get into the platform and show you what we've been working on. But beyond defining the audience, we need to understand how we're going to interact with them and how we're going to really impact that behavior so that they are a growth driver for our brands. We're then going to translate that into buying intelligence and reach these consumers across channels. And of course, we're going to measure the performance and rapidly optimize. And all of this is a continuous cycle enabled by these feedback loops. So when we think about audience building today at Horizon, we've built out a connected marketing platform that leverages our spine of users, our Blue ID of over 250 million individuals. And we have a handful of really great data partnerships that are able to share with us at the atomic level data sets about viewership data, psychographic data, campaign data, of course we have, demographic data, purchase data, first-party client data. And all of that needs to come together to really drive an understanding of who these consumers are that our brands want to reach. So today we have all of that. It's very manual in what we've established. And what we're trying to do is really use AI to scale this to more clients and to give more access to our teams to support those clients. So when we think about kind of the areas that we're optimizing today, trying to alleviate the manual lift that goes into making all of this fully functional. Right now, it's very specialized too. You have to have a very specific skill set to really mine this data, which is at the very granular level. So we want to really broaden the skill sets that are able to make the most of this data set. Then lastly, the approach today can feel a little bit linear in the sense that you have to go through a certain set of processes to get the insight that you need. And we want to give users the ability to have a little bit more agility with how they are interacting with our platform. So that brings us to what we're building with Akkio, and I'll start us off here. Through the AI platform that Akkio is bringing, we're really able to supercharge our capability, like I mentioned. So we're able to automate all of the existing connections between our data sets so that users are able to traverse those data sets very quickly within seconds, and you'll see this in the platform, which is a huge unlock for how we're able to scale this. Secondly, we're able to democratize this access. So by using natural language to engage with these data sets that previously had been really only able to be leveraged by data scientists and data engineers, we're able to bring this data closer to the business so that business users can understand how they can use it to better connect with their consumers and drive value for their clients. Then lastly, and one that I'm most excited about, is just how agile this whole process is. We're able to iterate and bump back and forth with where we are in the planning to make sure that we're reacting to the best data signals that we have, and that really drives the campaign planning process.
So I'll jump into a little bit about how we do this. We're going to show you in a minute in a demonstration, but I'll talk through how Akkio reimagines audience building. It starts with the foundation. Our core technologies start with NLP, or using chat and large language models to interact with technology. I'm sure all of you have had a huge amount of experience with this over time, but being able to bring chat in a way that is specific to the workflows of a media agency is pretty exciting. We combine that with ETL and doing advanced data pipelining to get the right data in at the right time to the system for the system to operate on. We even go so far as to do generative knowledge graphs in making the overall system work. We combine that with our AutoML engine, which does advanced modeling, whether it's regression, classification, time series modeling, and I'll actually demonstrate a lookalike model to you as we get into the demo. And then once you have a model in operation, to be able to do model ops on that. So you take that foundation and then you apply it to the specific context of an agency. An agency will have their own data warehouse, their own LLM endpoints, their own expertise about how they go about answering questions for clients. And we wrap all of that together into the cognitive architecture. The cognitive architecture sits on top of the foundation, the technical foundation we've created. And then you can layer on workflows. Those workflows can be campaign measurement and analysis, or they could be media planning or media mixes. And the one we'll demonstrate today, of course, is around audience creation. Most importantly, this entire solution can be containerized and deployed on the cloud infrastructure of your agency, so that there's maximum data security here. The data doesn't leave your cloud infrastructure, so your DPAs with your clients remain intact.
Great. So with all of that, we're able to drive better outcomes for our clients. So we're able to build better audiences in less time. So certainly a win-win there. And just to hit on a few of these themes, which we'll show you in the platform, we're able to explore and define precise audiences. So through the AI, you're going to see how we're able to really go through the thousands of data attributes and data signals that we have to really blend all that together to find our right audience. So we no longer have to be beholden to a persona or a specific audience definition. We're able to use the AI to really traverse all of those data sets to find the most meaningful way to define each audience. And then secondly, we're able to deeply understand that audience. So through the insights that we're able to glean through the connectivity of all of the data that we have, we're able to understand how we need to reach them, what we want to say, where we want to reach them, to make sure that we're going to engage with them in the most meaningful way for our brands. Then lastly, we're able to maximize our audiences. So Craig touched on the lookalike model, but the ability and the importance of having a platform independent model to make sure that we're reaching the right audiences and have control over that is super critical for what we're building as Horizon.
All right, without further ado, should we get into the demo?
Yes, let's do it.
Excellent. So I'll preface this by saying what we're going to show today is an Akkio demo that is based largely on what we're building with Horizon, but we're going to use synthetic data for the purpose of this technical demo, more to just show off the technology and go from there. So if we were to do this on Horizon's platform, you would see something that was more tailored specifically for them and using their identity framework. But in this case, we'll keep it Akkio and we'll use synthetic data. So with that, I'm going to switch over here. And so now we're in the platform. The first thing that you can see here is you can see a collection of projects. These are projects that anyone in your organization or within a client team could do to create a new audience. And so I'll start it off by clicking New Audience. And again, here, what you see here is a simulated population in your identity framework. So this is showing 1 million members. In the Horizon instance with their blue spine, you would see a much larger pool of people that's representative of the US population. So what I will start by doing is saying, what data sources can I use? And so you can interact with the system via chat, and it will answer questions for you exactly how you'd expect. And this gives me some information about what I can access. I have an identity framework. I have information about automotive, car ownership information. I have credit card purchase information, some internet browsing summary, some purchase data, some media consumption activity, and places visited. Akkio can work at scale, so we can work with billions of records of information and stitch together a knowledge graph that will answer the question that a user has in an efficient way. But what I'm going to do here first is jump right into building an audience with natural language. So I'll say, build me an audience of EV owners in coastal states. All right, so I kick it off. The system, of course, interprets my question of trying to understand exactly what I meant by owners in this instance and what a coastal state is. And it will give a plan back to me. It will say, okay, here's what I'm going to, before it goes and does it, it's going to tell me first what it's about to go do. And this is a key part for building trust in a user, for them to understand what the AI is going to go do for them. So I'll go ahead. I know this takes a minute or so to build, so I'm going to go kick off the build while I explain it. So I can dive here into the detailed plan. It's going to look in the Akkio latest auto table for owners who have plug-in electrics and electric vehicles. And then it's going to determine where they live by searching on it. In this case, it's interpreted my ask for coastal states to be along the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Gulf of Mexico. And so that all looks right. And then over here, you see a summary of what is happening. In this case, it's generating statistics, some basic demographic statistics about the audience you just created. In this case, we can see that it's 119,000 members deep, that they are in 109,000 households. And we have some information about our ability to identify them via unique email addresses or IP addresses, and some basic information about them. What is actually happening here is a SQL code is getting written that then runs on the on your data warehouse. So I can, of course, flip over to view that code and see the tables that it's running on if you really wanted to dive in deep. So I'm going to go ahead and save this audience. We'll call it EV owners in coastal states and go from there.
Something just to jump in here, Craig, something that's so exciting for us is just the transparency that this gives our users into the data that they're accessing. We know that that is so important for our users and for our clients to understand what they're accessing, what that data table makes up, how that's being used, so that they can have trust in what the audience makeup is, and that we feel that we're really are reaching the right consumer. So that's something that is super exciting for us. And just to reiterate the importance and the transformative nature of the natural language application here, really allows us to scale this to users who are not as familiar with our data sets, that typically one would have to know what specific attributes to be asking about, which specific details to be inquiring about. Now the AI is able to help that user surface through the prompt recommendation. It gives them ideas, it gives them a sense of how to iterate, and you can continue to ask questions as well, which is something that we're really excited about, to be able to give our users the ability to continue to explore and dive deeper until they're satisfied with what they're creating.
Yeah, it's a great point. And so often in AI systems, you go from question to answer, but being able to see something about how it worked as it got from question to answer really is key to building trust in users. And so we try to design that into all parts of what we do. Okay, let's flip over to insights. So once you've built your audience, usually the first thing you want to do is learn about the audience that you just built. So in this case, what we've done is created a collection of insight dashboards along the various data sources that we have. We know demographic information that we can communicate about this audience, financial information, purchase history information, interest in media usage, content, and of course, automotive. So diving into these, you can see really the common insight graphs that you would typically build anytime you're creating an audience, with the difference being, of course, normally it would take days, sometimes even weeks to get a report this detailed. This can occur immediately for any audience you create. So what I can do is, so that we have anything from key differences in the audience, their location, being able to map their location, information about their age, gender, income, and presence of children in the household. You can take any of these graphs in the pre-made report and add it to a custom report. So I'll do that one. I'll put that one over in our custom report. And then you can also compare by going to the compare tab. You can compare this audience that you've just created to previous audiences you've created, or sort of rebuilt audiences that might represent a large subsegment of the population. So if I wanted to compare EV owners in coastal states to, say, an audience I've already built, EV owners from Montana, I can do that by going here and then immediately seeing that comparison. So you've got your Venn diagrams. You can select whether you want to compare them by age or any other attribute.
And the one of the valuable things of this tab specifically is that it gives our planners, the users, the ability to understand that overlap very early in the process. So if they are comparing two audiences and the overlap is too high, they know they need to go back and refine that makeup to make sure that we're reaching the most relevant people, across the portfolio, and that there isn't a degree of cannibalization, for example, that could be happening. So it's a really critical buying intelligence tool as well in this specific tab. And then just to comment on the Insights tab, because that's one of my favorite ones. What's great there is that it allows us to take some of the more manual queries that had been something that teams would always ask for and make those available to our users so that they're able to, in real time, understand all of the key attributes about these audiences to not only inform campaign planning, but also use those insights more upstream to maybe inform research and development, new product innovation. We've heard those use cases mentioned from our clients. So it's really a powerful tool in that regard as well.
Cool. And then the playground of insights is the Explore tab, where if there are questions that in learning about an audience and insights and compare that have gone unanswered for a media planner, they can come in here to the Explore tab and explore their data about the audience in any way they want. So you can create charts or graphs. Let's do this one. Make a scatter plot of age versus income. And so there's a whole bunch of different chart types that are supported. And then so you can ask for a chart and receive it. You can edit that chart through natural language. And then you can even ask the LLM system to explain the chart for you, or summarize the chart for you, or summarize key insights for you. So all of the types of tasks that you would do as a data analyst can be hugely accelerated just by asking. So here I have my scatter plot of age versus income. I can save that to my custom report. And then I come on over here to the report tab, and you can see the things that I've started to create here. I can title or subtitle this November 2024. I can expand each of them and add custom text or add LLM generated text through the snippet functionality. And then, of course, I can save this as a PDF to deliver to my client, or I can download all the charts in the custom report I've made to bring them into a larger presentation, for instance. Okay. Moving into the last part of the demonstration today is advanced modeling. There's a couple different ways to create audiences. There is the ability to create an audience directly by asking for it. And then there's the ability to create an audience by modeling it. So in this case, I can build a lookalike audience by, I'll go ahead and kick this off because I know it takes a moment. I have my seed audience here, which is EV owners in coastal states. And then what we'll oftentimes want to do when trying to reach an audience is we want to reach people who may look a lot like that seed audience. And so, typically this is an activity that, of course, requires very specific skill sets, and we've tried to make it as easy as possible, so that you're selecting, making a few selections on: do you want to model at the household level or the individual level? Do you want the model to target only people within the geography represented, or a larger geography? And then click a button, train the model, and get going. What you'll see when this completes is a distribution. So there we go. So it creates sort of the from low confidence to high confidence of all of the people in my identity framework, and how close they are in looking like the audience that I started with the seed. And you can move your confidence threshold around to try to adjust the size of the lookalike audience you want to create. And as I do that, I'll see different statistics about that audience. And I can look at a driving factor analysis of that lookalike audience that I just created, or that I would create by selecting that button.
And the one thing I'll add here is just the importance of having this control and visibility is so critical, so that we're not relying on our platforms to do the modeling for us. We're able to centralize that activity, have the transparency to drive it, and then allow our users to decide the size of the audience, the precision, based on their campaign budget, their campaign objectives.
So last step in this is, of course, acting on the audience that you've created. So to that end, if you want to activate an audience in a campaign, you can. We've established connections between Google, Meta, Trade Desk, and common media buying platforms to walk the audience over and start to activate it. Okay. That's
I know we're right at time, so
yeah.
I don't know if we have any chance for some Q&A. Maybe while we're pulling that up, I think a few of the key takeaways from what, my perspective from what we've shared is just how significant AI is really revolutionizing audience creation and targeting. Just the speed at which this is moving and the control that it's giving us is super important to how we're reaching our consumers on behalf of our brands. The second is really turning this data into buying intelligence. So making sure that we're actioning on that data in the most meaningful way to drive the most value for our clients. Then the third, I would say, would be that the personalization and the optimization, this ongoing iteration of everything, is really enabling us to best connect with those consumers. So that's really quick hits.
And I would say the key takeaways on my mind are really around, in using generative AI to do audience building. It just lets you do it faster and better. Being able to ask, instantly ask for and receive an audience, and then it gives you that time to iterate that ends up being so valuable in getting to the right audiences to go activate, and better, an LLM based or generative AI based system can imagine things that you may not imagine, and think about paths that you may not imagine to actually create better audiences. And I think as this technology evolves over time, it's just going to get better and better, and it's tremendously exciting. So with that, we'd love to open up the floor for any questions from the audience.
Thanks, guys. So we do have a few questions in here. And to those of you who ask questions, if you do need to hop off, we'll be answering any that we didn't answer on here directly, following up afterwards. The first one that I see coming through is, how mature does my data need to be to do this effectively?
I'll grab that first. I think for audience building, having an identity framework is key. There's certainly some things you can do without one, but it is a lot better with one, and that's where our partnership with Horizon, they have one that is really mature and allows us to do some very powerful things, or allows them to do some very powerful things with our platform. If you're doing other workflows, we've spoken entirely around audience building, but if you're doing other workflows like campaign reporting and analysis, for instance, there's for that, of course, you don't an identity framework isn't key, and you can take data in from a collection of different sources, and we've evolved some ways to make that pretty seamless. So the data can be pretty messy, and you can still get a pretty big benefit out of it.
I see a question here. If we have time for one more that I think would
Yeah,
be
let's-
interesting. Someone asked, what was the process to train the LLM for Horizon and how long did it take?
Yeah, there's probably two elements here. One is the amount of time it took to deploy the Akkio solution and the Horizon's cloud infrastructure, and that took about a week. I think we could have gone faster, but to really do it right, it took about a week. And then the heavy lift is really in the collecting the context and creating a RAG LLM system based on the right context from Horizon. That took us about a month, and I believe that that certainly can be done faster, but to really make it complete, that was about how long it took.
I think just to build on the context part, I think that's something I wanted to mention is just how much we're able to share in terms of the business logic we want to introduce, the context by client, and making sure that we're able to infuse the Horizon perspective and way of working so that we're really training the LLM along with the Akkio folks to make sure that we're returning to our users responses and direction that we feel really represents our point of view.
Okay, now that we're a few minutes over with our two questions that we were able to answer, again, we'll follow up directly with answers to the other ones. But if you want to finish it off with a couple of words and wrap up the webinar.
Yeah, I'll say thanks to everyone for attending. It really is exciting what's starting to become possible with generative AI in this space, and stay tuned for more. Elizabeth?
Yeah, I would just also thank everyone for joining and for the Akkio team for this strategic partnership that's really supercharged our Horizon capabilities. And I think, Craig, you said it well, that we're building a foundation to address future challenges and future workflows. So we're super excited to be doing that and offering that as a solution for our clients.
Great. Thank you both for joining. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.